So after that, I kept on growing. I ended up running into an old friend, which he was a little older than I was. He was an athlete. Uh, we called him Doc. May he rest in peace. But I ran into him, and he was in the real estate, and he was a lot smarter than I was. He told me, "Say, man, you can invest your money in real estate, man. You can do this, do that." You know what I'm saying? I'm riding, rocking a perm and doing all the stuff. You know what I'm saying? Having money and stuff. I'm like, man, nah. He's like, man, I'm telling you, man. So he talked me into it, and he took me over to this guy named, his name was Leland Bates. So he took me over there. The guy lived in Berkeley. He lived in a real nice house in Berkeley. So he took me over there, and introduced me to the guy. The guy was a athlete, ex-athlete too. He was a college star, and came hair close to making it to the NFL, but blew his knees out. But he was very, very, very intellectual. He was a very smart guy. So he had an investment company. So they talked me into investing money and stuff like that. So I got into an investment company. So I ended up having my own little investment company. I think this was in 1988. I was like 20 something. I was man. So I would go and we would buy places. I'd buy quick claim deeds, all kind of stuff. So Doc was trying to get me to convince me to come on, man, quit. You know, the underworld's gonna change it. Come on, you know, get with me and this and that. But I was so caught up in that, and I would do that. So anyway, I got into that. I had a investment company called NorCal International Investments, and I was buying property, fixer uppers, and we resell it and stuff. And I was making money. I was making so much money I couldn't even keep up with it. You know, being the age I was, I started staying in the penthouse up there at Park 55. I stayed on the 32nd floor. You used to have a personal ID to go up there and live. I was living up there for about 8 months, and I used to go up and then I used to go pay the people. It was a white lady. I was a young guy, and I mean, not a white guy. It was a white guy, not a white lady. But it was a white guy at the desk, and he asked me. He said, "Hey, man," he said, "What do you do for a living?" And man, right off the top of my head, I couldn't think. And I told the white man, I said, "I sing background vocalist for Luther Vandross." And the guy eyes open. He didn't know if I was lying or not. So he was like amazed. So I paid and I went on back upstairs, and I laughed to myself about it. You know, I think about it. So I used to come down there, man. I have convertible Eldorado. I used to come down there, and I have on jewelry and stuff. And I used to be tipping all the guys to park my car and all that stuff. And they knew me real famous. And I used to come up there, man, and I used to live up there, man. I was doing so much stuff at that particular time that I was living there. But yeah, but Doc was study him and Robert. He had a friend named Robert, both of them deceased. They was athletes. They was a lot smarter than me. So I got to a point where I opened up a office in Oakland. It was down there on Broadway. And they used to have meetings and stuff like that. And Doc would always arrange all that. And he would tell me to come, and I wouldn't be coming, but I had the money to back. And so, you know, I would always, when we wanted to buy property and they would make money and all that stuff, I would, you know, finance the situation. But Doc would always try to convince me. So when we opened up the office, they had an little office party, and a lot of people that would invest, that would come there, was coming and stuff like that. And they was at the party, white people. And it was a sister. She was a very beautiful sister. She started working for us, and she had never met me, but she knew Doc and all them. So I took my boy Sammy Mack down there with me, and we come up in there with perms and all that stuff on, had little suits on and stuff like that. So when I came to the front door, the lady stopped me at the door and said, "Excuse me, can I help you?" And she was looking at us like we was out of place. And I told her, I said, "Yeah, I'm here to see Doc." And she said, and we went to walk down there where I could see Doc, and he waved at me and stuff. And she said, "No, wait right here." But Sammy looked at me, and I just smiled at him. And so she went and got Doc, and I could see her talking to him when they was on their way back to us. And she asked him, She said, "Who is that?" You know, with a stern look on her face. And Doc said, "That's our boss." And you should have seen the way her whole complexion changed. Her eyes lit up, and she couldn't believe it. So when she came, and after that, and then we went in, and boy, she was trying to wait on me hand and foot. She kept, "If you okay?" I told her, I said, "Oh, it's fine. Don't worry about it." You know, she thought she may be in trouble. I said, "Don't worry about it. Everything is okay. I'm good." You know, I had my little juice and drinking and stuff, and then we had the meeting and stuff, and everything went well. But after that, I started getting into other things. I ended up buying another Mercedes during that particular time. Me and my two partners went down to Santa Monica, down in Los Angeles, to buy it. I bought a car off the showroom floor, and we went in there because I had been looking through a horse trader, something like the Auto Trader. I'm sorry, but we had gone through the Auto Trader books. So I found the book because I seen the guy. It was a guy out of East Palo Alto, had the kind of coupe that I liked. He had a bad coupe. I was like, man, I really liked it. They had 500s and all that, but he had like a 280 or something like that. I liked the cut on it, so I liked that car, and I was looking for it, and I found it, and we went down there, and I bought the car off the showroom floor. The guy at that particular time, I think he wanted like 38,000 or 40,000. I think I gave him 35,000 out of my bag. I dumped it all on the floor, and the guy asked me, and we counted it and all that stuff, and he let me drive it off. He was trying to sell me a Rolls Royce. I was like, "Nah, man, I can't go back to the city in no Rolls Royce. I ain't but like 27 at that particular time. I can't go back in no Rolls Royce." So anyway, make a long story short, we end up taking the car, and we driving it back. We going back to San Francisco. We on I-5, and my car seemed like we on I-5, and it's dark as heck, and my car seemed like the tires on flat. We could hear something. Rump, 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 rump. I said, "Man, what is that?" And Sammy said, "Man," he rolled down the window. He on the passenger side. He looked, and we on the I-5, man. Taking this dark and everything. You know, you have to be doing, at least 60, 70 miles an hour. So he looked, and he said, "Man," "I think your tire's on the flat." I said, "What?" And I'm thinking, like, this motherfucker is up. And then he looked, and he leaned out. He said, "No, man." He said, "Man, the dude," he said, "one of your tires is a retread." What? So it just so happened it was in God's will that right up there you could see a gas station right off the highway. And we drove up in there, and it was late, and I pulled up, and I told the dude, I said, "I need a whole tire." And they had him dude said, "Okay, no problem." So he jacked the tire up. It was cold, the wind blowing. We sitting in the car. He got the car jacked up. The highway patrol pull up in there, and he see us sitting in the car, and the car jacked up. Now we in the gas station, mind you, white boy. So the white boy come over there, pull up behind us, jump out, and tap on my window. And I roll the window down. I say, "Can I help you? What's going on?" He said, "Anything costs more than my house, I got to check it." And I gave him my registration and all that stuff, proof, everything, and the man was just pissed, and he couldn't do nothing. He took off, and we left, and we ended up getting back to the city. But we had noticed that when we were staying in the hotel, I think the night before, because we got there late in the evening, and we went out to a nice restaurant. Me and my two partners, we went out there, and we had we had a radio, a boom box or something, and we had some stuff up in there, and we came back to the hotel, and they started noticing stuff had been moved around, and Sammy said, "Man, hey man," he said, "Man, I think the police been up in here, man." I said, "Huh?" I was like, "What, And my other partner, he said, "Jerry," he said, "Yeah, man." He said, "Man, they been up in here, man. Look, this was moved, that was moved. I said that there and this and that." So I was like, "Oh man." So we went. So I ended up buying the car, like I said, and ended up going back to San Francisco. I'll say about a week later, one morning, I'm staying at my parents' house. We living down there and the Victorian house on Oakdale. I'm staying at my parents' house, and I hear some commotion. I hear radios and stuff like that. And I look out the window, because from my window, you can see the streets on the side. You can see Newhall. Police all surrounded by my car, man. So I go out there. I say, what's going on? He said, man, we believe this car is stolen. I said, man, car ain't stolen, man. Right? And he said, whose car is it? I said, it's my car. And they looked at each other and they started lifting up the hood and all that, open the trunk, all this stuff. And lift up the hood and stuff. And the dude looked out there with the car. He said, yeah. He said, look, this don't even match this. He said, man, don't even match the VIN number. And it was happened to be a brother that was just happened to be walking by. It's early now. I take it around about 11 o'clock in the morning. And it just happened to be a brother that just happened to be walking by. And he stopped and he was watching. And when the dude said it don't match, and my heart pounding like, I know this dude ain't sold me no car. Ain't no, you know what I'm saying? So, and when he said it wasn't matching, the dude said, man, that's the motor to the engine, man. It don't supposed to match. He told the police that. And the police, oh, okay. And I showed him all the paperwork. And the police said, well, how much you pay for this car? I lied. I said, $15,000. He said, $15,000? He said, oh, no, right, you know. So anyway, they ended up leaving. So I just kept on growing in the game, man, you know. So I ended up going back to prison. For I was gambling, and the police caught me. I had a pistol. It was a little Derringer I used to carry in my Louis Vuitton. I'm coming out of the gambling shack, and the police raided. They seen me, and one of the police had knew me, and they stopped me and frisked me and pulled out the gun, and I caught the case, and I tried to beat the case the same way that I beat the dope case, but I had this little youngster, my little homeboy that was there. I told him, and I said, I'm going to pay you $50 every time we go to court. I'm going to pay you $50 to show up. And he would show up, and I would give him the money and stuff, and he would testify. But the thing is, I told him to tell him exactly what I had on. But the thing is that I couldn't remember what I had on, because I thought I had on a blue jacket, but I had on a green jacket. And he would come to the court, and he would testify when we was in preliminary. And the DA got me on that, because the DA said, this guy is lying, because this is the mug shot that they had the night that they arrested him. He didn't have on a blue jacket. He had on this, right? And then that just put a dent in the whole case. And so I ended up going to prison, man. So I ended up, this is in the 90s. I ended up going to prison. So I get up out of prison, and I'm out, I'm out, and I'm just driving up through the hood. I'm on Kiska somewhere up there. So I run into my boy Andre, my other boy. And he up there, he arguing with one of the homeboys. And he looked like he had just got through fighting or something. So I pull over. I hadn't seen him. And he said, man, I said, man, what's going on? He said, man, I just had to whoop such and such ass, right? His name was Melvin. I'm going to call him Melvin. But Big Melvin, he said, I just had to whoop Big Melvin ass, man. He said, because Melvin was moving work, and I used to go pick it up, and he ain't never paid me for it, right? I said, what? He said, yeah. He said, his brother, we call him Dog. I'm going to call him Dog. But his brother Dog came up here trying to defuse the situation and stuff. And I'm telling him, no, I want my money, this and that, and this and that. A couple of days later, Mel got killed, He got killed. So, behind the brawl, he got killed behind this woman. So anyway, to make things worse, so I started talking to him. So he told me he had a hookup with the Colombians. So I was like, huh? He said, yeah, man, I got a hookup with the Colombians. So he gave me the lowdown. I told him, I said, well, hook it up, man. I can move the stuff. And it started becoming where it was like a drought. And I think at that particular time, birds was going for like 22.50 or something like that. So anyway, yeah, it got become a bad drought. So anyway, he hooked it up, and he talked to the people, and people used to come up to his house up in the hood. The Colombians, they knew his mother and his parents. He stayed with his mother and his father, and they would talk to him and everything. So when he got in contact with him and told him they told him come on down. So they were staying in San Bernardino at that particular time. They had like 3 or 4 houses on the same block, all of them about 4,000 square feet. swimming pool, all that stuff. So he went down there. I paid for him to go down there. He went down there, and he was down there like 2-3 days. I was calling, man, where you at, man? He down there, man. They want him to stay. He in the swimming pool. They got fine Colombian girls down there, man. This man I said, man, you got to come back, man. We ready to go to work. So he finally come back. So I told him, he said, well, how many of them that you want? I said, man, tell him to send 40 of them. So he said, okay. So he come back up. He make it up there. We got 40 things. 40 birds. So I'm sitting there. So when I get it, and when we get on, I start making calls, telling people, man, I'm on this and that. That was waiting. They was waiting. A lot of people called. My boy called me. My boy Andre, the one I lost the bet to. I called him. He said, man, H, man, got on deck, man. He got people, man, buying work from him, man. And H was out of Two Rock. He said, man, H got people lined up all around the block, man. He said, man, you late, man. I was like, damn. But I still was able to move it because I had a bunch of people. I knew a bunch of people. So we still able to move it. And I was telling what's his name, Andre. I was telling Andre, I said, man, don't, whatever you do, man, secure our plug. Don't be giving out work and all that stuff. But I knew more about the business than he did. So he was really just a person to go. He was, the mule. I was just getting to work. So anyway, but I was giving him the freedom to move stuff if he could. And he do it exactly the opposite. So we up in there counting money, and Mexicans say, okay, it's like 690,000. And we counting the money, it's like 690 grand. And the Mexicans say, man, he like 30-something grand off. So man, it's supposed to be, he said, man, it's supposed to be $1 million. Over $1 million. What? I said, man, we only had 40. He said, man, we was getting them, and they was giving it to us for 20. So we was able to make $2,000. I was able to make $2,000 off each one of them. So he was like, man, yeah. He said, man, it's supposed to be $1 million. I was like, huh? I said, man, nah, man, you only gave us this and that. He said, man, listen. He said, man, we brought up another 10 birds. Andre told us to bring up 10 more. But Andre didn't tell me that he told him to bring up 10 more. So we at his house, and we in the living room, we counting all the money. I go in there, he laying there, he in there laying down. I said, man, what's up? He said, what do you mean, what's up? I said, man, they told me you called and told them to bring up 10 more after we was dumping them. I said, man, you didn't even tell me. So he was going to dump them on the side and make the money. He didn't even tell me, but he still had to work, some of the work. So I said, oh, man. So that messed up the whole ordeal. So when we was talking, I was going back to the car with him. The Colombian, they take the money. One of the Colombians told me, he said, man, I see you know more about the business than he do. He said, take my number. And he gave me his number. And I went to working. And I was dealing with them for a good while. And I complained to one of my big homeboys about what Andre did. And he was like, man, you want me to get rid of him? I said, nah, man. And he seen me down there by third. I was getting ready to go into the store. Well, my boy Andre, Truck, the one that ended up getting to work on the Colombians originally, was with me. He went into the store, and my boy jumped in the back and said, man, he said, is that him? I said, yeah, that's my partner, man. He said, man, give me a towel. I said, what, man? He said, man, I said, nah, man, don't do that to him, man. Leave him alone. And he left him alone. But anyway, my boy ended up messing up the plug, and he got so bad to where he went to trying to kill the plug. The plug came down there because my boy, that Big Melvin, had a sister that had a salon right there on Lanham Street. So they used to go by there and meet. And he ran to them down there, and, man, he tried to shoot one of the Colombians, man, because he owed them so much money. He tried to shoot one of them. He had a Louis Vuitton pot with a gun in it, and he grabbed the Colombian dude and put his head to the Louis Vuitton bag with the pistol and pulled the thing, and the gun got jammed and didn't shoot off. He would have killed him. But before that, they was looking for him for a while. He had old money, and they seen me one morning, and they just ran into me, man. And it was like 3 of them, man. And they said, "Hey, Charlie." I was like, "Yeah, what's up, man?" He said, "Man, where's Andre?" I said, "Man, I don't know, man. He might be at home." He said, "Man, we called him. He's not answering the phone." He said, "Man, won't you call him?" I said, "I'll try to call him." He said, "Man, go up there with us." I said, "Man, I don't want to. I'm scared. I'm leery to get in the car. Like, man, these cats might smoke me." You know what I'm saying? So they convinced me. I'm leery. I said, "Well, I'm getting in the back seat." It was 3 people, so I said, "I get in the back seat. I'm gonna fight with the motherfucker in the back." Before I go out, I'm gonna fight with him. So anyway, we went up there, but I sat in the car with him, got in the car with him and shit. And at that time, we had pages and shit. So I called him, and he never answered. So never answered the door, none of that. So anyway, they dropped me back off, and I just kept dealing with them for a while until I ended up after that incident. The incident took place with Anthony. After that, with Andre, they left. They got out of town. So they quit calling. I called, they wouldn't answer and this and that. So I ended up getting my own little plug. I got another plug through my homeboy that had to work, that had all them people waiting on him. When I had got it, HE8, give me a plug, man. And after that, it was hell to tell the captain. And I was on the road, man. I was selling work like it was 90 going north, man. Really, I was really selling a whole lot of work, man. I made so much money, man. I used to go to fights and all that kind of stuff and meet all kind of celebrities and things like that, man. And I came across so many great people that I knew in the community, man.